morning, class. Welcome to Homeroom with Unk and Market Monk.
Morning, P. How's your week?
I was really good. I wasn't really trading around the ceasefire deal on purpose. I just had quite a quite a bit that I'd been scaling into, um, just leading up to that, and did really well through that night. Just cleared out any options almost instantly at open, and just kind of went back at it. Looked for the secondary move on a couple things, but. Yeah, I mean, overall pretty solid. I just I'm a little close to the vest. You're just gonna see a lot of volatility. Main focus is big names that can hold a long time, and just moving into some of those at these levels.
Nice. Yeah, decent. Yeah, it's been an odd month because not really getting two matching weeks as far as bottom lines go, but the main account came back real good last week. Just got to kind of not wait it out, but not look at that thing some of the times if it bothers you. Actually,
Yeah,
I had a buddy. I bought some rims for my cart, and he was like, "Man, I don't know how to handle this $100,000 downturn, in 3 or 4 weeks." And I was like, "Well, where were you last quarter? Or where were you at the start of the year?" And kind of eased his mind a little bit, but different game. The long term game, you win over time, and the short term game, it's been picky lately, but last week was pretty darn good. Um, for me, it's noticing you have the stupid plays back. Carr is definitely a stupid play.
yeah,
And then Kodak for me is another one that I got a little piece of. That's just kind of doing the same thing. So that's for me. That's always the start to the market. The irrational plays kind of coming back in, um, and just picking your spots. Still saying thank you a lot for the most part, and I'm with you on the bigger names. But to wrap that up, great week in the main account, and normal decent week in the trading account. But I definitely wasn't swinging at many pitches.
yeah. No, I agree, and I mean part of it too. I sold a lot of oil on the kind of the big pop, and then the I guess the decision to make basically is how much more to buy on pullbacks when those pullbacks are well above your entries on some things. And so I mean, I don't know, psychological, but rather than averaging up to that degree, I just kind of I look for laggers and new
Sure.
ones, mid caps, small caps, where you can just get a smaller core position, and kind of trade the sector that way on that kind of secondary move in the sector. Because what I think is going to happen with oil, other than the big volatility spikes, there is some significant real world damage and disruption that's going to take a long time to clear out. So oil is whatever it is going to settle at a much higher level than where we were. So in the 80s or something like that. And then as far as the companies go, the wheels are turning on raising production in the U.S. and from U.S. companies and offshore places, and all that stuff. So a lot of those equipment stocks and pipelines and things like that are likely to see some decent long term movement. So I don't the flow, like the day to day stuff and the front loads and the insider trading on oil futures and all of that, is not as significant to me as kind of the bigger picture and the range that a lot of those smaller names could reclaim going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I had a note Friday that oil and defensive stocks were pulling back, and it's just definitely news driven. Um, the stuff I'm in, more or less watching the stuff I'm in. Um, the range is abnormal for those, and I think they settle quicker than most. But we got some generation. I mean, I'm a Halliburton owner now. And I never,
Yeah.
it's
Oh
one
yeah.
thing I
Yeah.
never thought I'd say. And not only am I like a Halliburton owner, but hit all three of well, I guess it didn't hit the day trade, but it hit two of the three trade spots for me. I did swing trade it, and I am a long term in it, but like it's not coming back, and I'm not probably going to sell anymore from what I have, and um, I don't know how I feel about selling what I had in the first place just because of how good our entry was. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, if for me, those are all on to the next one. Make the note of where you'll go back in and on to the next one. I can say that about the big names in the oil sector too. And I mean, not to get too much into numbers, but what I like, five figure, mid five figure, upper five figure positions in those companies, sure, but that's just not where I started trading, so it's going to take
Yeah.
time to build something like that. And I'll take my, couple hundred or couple $1,000s that I have in those names at this point in time. And but they're on the wheel for me now, you know what I mean? And I'll get them when they offer good value. Um, and I guess thank you, P, because I probably would have never
Yeah.
touched any of those without you. But um, trading the news right now, I guess that's where I wanted to go with this. Trading the news or trading these geopolitical events and being mindful of these geopolitical events are two totally different things. And for me, I'm not direct currently because you want to be early, and we were, or you were, we were, however you
Yeah.
want to let me take credit for your work. Um,
No, that's still good.
um,
That's us.
I'll, we were early on that, so I'm trying to be early on the next thing because that's just what fits for me the best. Um, but still be mindful. I have to watch this because obviously oil affects everything, and we've seen that several times before. Um,
Well,
yeah.
yes, and a couple things that come to mind there. The There was a moment where the rare earth and critical minerals, and a little Easter egg for people who follow us, phrasing it that way, critical minerals. But the the deal, those were really hot with traders for a little while, and then they kind of cooled off. Nothing about that story has changed, and essential as it ever was, for the U.S. to try to get some independence there, and for China to use it as leverage against us. And I mean, you even see like things like helium and sulfuric acid, and like all of these kinds of things that you're going to see these very specific niche sectors, that have a very clear picture that most people aren't going to see, that we cover. I don't know if anyone covers it as well. I'm not in other Discord rooms or whatever, but we do a pretty damn good job on that. And so I'm definitely mindful of and looking for the next stories. Some of them are going to be like little stories. Some will be big, but it's going to be trades there. And with defense, we mentioned that the I think one potential lesson from this war is that you have a lot of very cheap technology damaging and disabling a lot of really expensive technology.
Hmm.
And so I think that one of the trajectories within defense is, um, to get cheaper and to get robotic, and get more drones out there. And so all of that kind of stuff, to me is sort of where it's at. And the big defense companies will be all involved in that. But you know, living around and working right next to one of the bigger Air Force bases in the country, there are just countless little contractors and subcontractors to the subcontractors for anything defense related. And so there's going to be companies getting a piece of this stuff that people don't even think of as defense companies. And so that's one of the other big landscapes that I'm trying to read, and I think do pretty well, and will continue to work at it.
I had a really good analogy at the start of that I was holding on to because usually move my mind when you talk. So I was fighting
Yeah,
to hold
sure.
on to that. Um, but it fits the sector you just talked about there, and stock market's like a movie theater sometimes, right? Like the new movie comes out and everybody goes and watches it. It's
Yeah,
full. It's hard to get tickets, and then they move on to the next thing, and people still go to that movie or need or want to watch that movie, and the profit will grind and away as they continue to sell tickets over there, and the market is like that. It gets distracted or attracted to other things constantly when the story was really good where they were at, and they just move on. And I
yeah,
think that low tech, without saying the word, is definitely one of those sectors. But I think we're seeing that with I mean, the war is just a bright shiny object right now, and everyone's. I mean, it's even more focused than that. Like you're talking, about the actual behind the scenes mechanics of it with the equipment, and they're like, but the straight, it's all about the straight, and the oil
yeah,
that
yeah,
doesn't even really it's China's oil, to be honest. um,
yeah.
so yeah, not to go too far off in that, but just good stuff to know and to look at, in regards, and that's where my head's at right now, is like, what did we just cover from, let's say, the start of the December sell off till now, that isn't going away, that it shouldn't go away, and that hadn't had its day yet. And I can use the sector I know it's not. So we had the we had the weed bump like in early October before all the
Yeah.
bullshit started, and then they just completely walked away from that. Kind of needs news. But you just kind of go back over those stories. What else were we talking about? What else were we in? What else? I go back and look at notes. I look at voice lists, and just kind of go from there, and rehash those through my 10 every week, and through the final five, and see what comes back. So
Well, yeah, the weed, such a good example of just I guess bad timing, because it had the foundation of a massive sector move, which was Trump saying we're going to move it from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, and nobody opposes this, and just kind of smooth sailing, bipartisan, push it through, and I think that's still probably going to happen, but just buried completely. That story is just not being dealt with at all. So yeah, good example there. I wanted
we're
to
gonna
touch.
legalize weed, but to stick it to Iran. I mean, come on.
Yeah, right, right,
Uh,
yeah. The software, wanted to talk about that,
yeah, you
and
said that pregame.
so the next, I mean, the next iteration of the of AI lately, they're always marketing. Oh, we've got this new model that scares us, that that could completely destroy the banking industry, or whatever. And then the Claude Anthropic, like, oh, we've got this tool for to attach to Office 365. We got this tool for cybersecurity, and like one by one, all these SaaS companies just tank and get destroyed, and Adobe down 50% year to date, and Team and Snow and MDB and Net and Crowd, like one by one, they all just get smacked, and beat down, and all of that. And then there's a quantum angle, out there too. But I mean, to me, so that's a big punch to the sector, and the extent to which the sector punches back. Like, you take those names one by one, and who is really actually devastated by any of this stuff that's happening in real world terms. And some of them are not, but they just got smacked with the sector. So you'll have, some relief there. And then you will have some companies, I think, affected by this, but that kind of reinvent themselves. So AI is this if AI is this big weapon against whatever our sector does for cybersecurity, what do you fight back with? You fight back with AI. Here's our new AI agent, whatever. And I just still think that fundamentally the big thesis on Crowd was that you can't get rid of it. If they fuck up, you have to use them to unfuck your systems. And I personally don't think that is changing. I think some software companies will die, get bought up, you know, whatever. But we're definitely approaching a point where a lot of those big dogs, you're going to be able to get 50% plus, even relief, retrace, whatever. Some more than 100%. Some stocks trading at 120 are going to be 240 again down the line, and then we just have to read that. But it is caveat is it is the hardest sector um, for me to read, despite the fact we do so well with it. Just in terms of what I have to put into it to read that sector, it's it's like me trying to work in Greek or something, and which literally I have done. I can get through it. I can do it. It takes me 2 times as long or 3 times as long, but in the end, the work will come out. It'll be fine.
Yeah, the what really stands out to me, and I might a little bit might go a little left here on you, but what really stands out to me is just the way like innovation has always affected the market. Following companies like you have on the screen there, Apple. I mean, if you just know their story or watched one of the 10 movies, you'll kind of see it that company was left for dead, and is now a top like 3 or 4 company in the world.
Yeah,
And they really didn't pivot much from what they did, or pivot much from what you think they would do as technology evolves. And that's just the market. No matter what the sector is, what stands out to me is financial services, or the apps right now. You know, you had PayPal Square, um, or Block, whatever. PayPal Block were like the two that won. There was plenty more of them. You know, and the
yeah,
banking came out with Zelle. You know, and you kind of see some like leveling there for maybe 10 or 11 years or whatever. It was kind of pretty stable, who's who over there. And now you have another 15 of them. You know, SoFi, Klarna, Chime, you know, all those. You just have some
yeah,
competition because they have innovated the tech a little bit. They offer something a little different. And we're going to end up with 2 or 3, 4 companies. That's just how it happens. You can say the same with the auto field, same with the EV field. Um, for me, there's usually a clear winner. What really stands out to me is like I've told you guys, like I keep feeling like a genius about my Tesla cells. One of my buddies the other day was asking me, like, you know, my wife's looking at this, should we sell our Tesla? And I'm like, Tesla's not something you sell. You know, he's just an investor. You know, he's just a set it and forget it guy. That's something you buy
yeah.
more of. They're gonna win.
Right.
They're just gonna win. And until you sell Tesla when Elon leaves, if you're if you're a passive investor. So yeah, they do. You for me as a flat brain, no, not college educated, just regular fucking human being. You have for me you have to know that, and you have to be looking for those cycles in the market, because I mean that's not even a market cycle, that's a technology cycle that affects the market. um, and we're seeing that in several sectors currently. I mean we've talked about that. I mean I guess that's all we really do talk about is that on a slower moving scale, or on a faster moving scale, because that is a slower moving scale. Energy is a great example as well. I mean, they used to just burn coal and make steam, and that's just not the thing anymore.
Yeah. Well, and with with banking and it banks have been one of the more fascinating sectors that I've worked through with you, and we've had good entries on
Hmm.
some of the largest banks. I mean, really good ones on Wells Fargo and Bank of America.
Key
For me personally,
and key.
and yeah, well, I was getting that's what I'm getting to. Like, but I remember, during the big crunch on the smaller banks, zeroed in on Key, and the bulk of our focus was like, okay, this is kind of the one, and so that knowing when to have that concentration of attention is a real strength. I think that that we do have, and in this next phase of banking, the neo banking thing, the way that Chime kind of got ahead of that. Like, still, I'm still sort of blown away when I look at the percentage of the market they have for that. I just don't feel like it's known, or things have been caught up to that. But identifying that that aspect of it, um, and then Klarna was one of those IPOs that you just kind of could tell what how that was going to play out initially with lockout expires and just it tanks or whatever. But the way that levels out and hangs around. I mean that Klarna icon is still in the shopping cart of every online vendor you go to now.
Oh,
And
sure.
so they're
The
they're
Affirmed and
gonna
Ally are that way as well. I see them
yeah,
everywhere.
and so like in my in my personal life, I have a local bank. I know my banker, but I mean, I don't really think that's the common thing for people anymore. And this gets back to, I mean, it's Lemonade is sort of adjacent to this, but you get that generation of customers. So your SoFi, your Lemonade, I think your Chime, and a couple others, and try to project when those people have money. You think they're just gonna be like, oh, okay, well, now I'm gonna go to mom and dad's bank now that I made it. I think they keep what they have, and so the long term projection of identifying winners and losers needs
Hmm.
to be part of the story. And it's not, you're going to see a glimpse of it to me in the in the 2028 leaps, but you have to think even beyond that. And the what people think of as stocks that are high beta and not safe and whatever, will become that. I mean that's how the market works. I mean the new a lot of tech was that way. This tech that people think of as foundational and just forever holds and everything. They didn't start that way. I mean, it's not you're not exactly trying to find the next Amazon or something like that. But there are companies that are going to be around. And so you kind of try to read the room to me of um, what is it that young people are likely to do and hold on to. And that steers the ship a bit for me as well, for the what I end up keeping out of some of these trades. And I think that this current market pullback, well, I don't think is going to be catastrophic or whatever, is a good opportunity to assess and reassess what you think is going to be around, what you want to hold 5-10 years from now.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't think people do, or I don't think people pick up on, and this is more for our people, so they do pick up on it a little bit. But when we attack something, a sector, like the mall's coming up currently.
Yeah,
Um, I had real estate is what I wanted to use because that was pretty much last year. It's usually not the good one that you're gonna be trading when you first do your research. It's not like, oh, we do real estate now we can buy Zillow, because
yeah,
it at that point in time was overvalued, and the flow and everything else, and the story behind Redfin was so much better. Um, Rocket to a point got overextended as well. So I mean, you kind of start in that field, but um, if y'all don't see right now, shit come back around. So it's good to it's good to be on that because you will have that opportunity. And I don't like to say I'm great or good too often, but trust me, and you guys in the room know for sure, when it's being cheap, I'm a fucking pro. And if you don't think I study fundamentals, you're foolish because that's where I started. And I can do that as quick as I can analyze charts. And and I apply that to my life. Like, I mean, you might think that $1.99 bag of Lay's is a good deal, but it could be 8 or 12 ounces, and you didn't know that because you didn't look at the fundamentals of that fucking bag. Um,
yeah,
and I got plenty of receipts. Tesla, we're in that 3 to 5 year windows. Talk to me about those $100 ads. Nvidia was 92. Great work with you there, P. I'll give you just as much credit on that. Go to fucking Netflix, 7501 to the penny. Let's talk about
yeah,
Target. So it's more of a timing thing, but you have to. The why I'm pounding the table on this right now is it's the work that starts off with the ideas in that sector that bring those opportunities around at the proper time because you're ready and you just kind of already done the work and know, like, man, I want to buy that, but I'm not buying that. I want to buy a Ferrari. I do.
yeah,
I do. You got one for like 65K I can pay cash for?
Well,
You know, because I'm not paying what they want. Let's just throw it out
right.
there. You know what I mean? I'll take a beach house out here in the beach. You know, at my place. Can I get it for 125? Just a little one bedroom thing, maybe two if it's got a shed or something with it. And I'm just throwing shit out there. But that's just how you got to look at the market and those bigger names, and they come back around. They really do, P.
Yeah, absolutely, and just a willingness to be kind of counterintuitive sometimes. I mean, from if you just go from like if you overthink it, build a bear like why? I mean, like you're just thinking like, that's in a mall. Malls are dead. It's expensive. Why would I want to buy that? I think that's how a lot of people would approach a stock like that. And you look at what we did there. Macy's, one that wasn't a one buy thing. I mean, this has come back around several times. I think you ask someone on the street, what's your outlook on Macy's? Um, dead and dying. Like but it isn't really, and there is a price where it works because there's shares there that people buy, and the whales move in at the same spots over and over and over again. And so I mean, yeah, I am college educated and overeducated, certainly, probably. But I in doing this, kind of know when to not get overly analytical. And I see it all the time with. I think some of these FinTwit guys are pretty bright
Yes.
people. I don't think they're all just morons,
Yeah.
but I think that they try to get a little too smart for their own good in applying macroeconomics to the minute chart or some version of that, and it just keeps it bites them over and over. Or the technical analysis, they get a little too into the weeds with it, and I think just to go to sports for a minute, that definitely can happen uh, with golf. I mean, there's I try to study and assess my swing, but you push that too far and you're thinking about too many things, and it's just more problems and more things to break down. And so you just get to a point where I can try to do the same swing over and over again and just kind of grip it and rip it, and I'll get into a pretty good groove, and then it's just maintenance after that. So I think with trading you have to, yeah, you have to do that. You can't make it too simple, but make it as simple as you can. And that's a principle of science and mathematics too, that you try to find the simplest way to describe things. You want one equation, you don't want 15. So you take those 15 and you work through them till you can get it down to one or two or three, and that's the core. Just to wrap it up, of that's what flow plus RTL. That's what that is, and then you know a story that makes sense within that framework is what we're after.
Yeah, I love. It's one thing I love about us. It's definitely two different worlds, opinions, views coming together just to hit the fucking ball.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, yeah, just one little note on the Fin Twitters this week. Yeah, more of the doom and gloom over there. I shouldn't have said prop firm around my phone. Now it like shows me prop firm tweets, but
Yeah.
those guys bitching about payouts and how the system is rigged and all this shit, and it's like, yeah, no shit. So go get a fucking job and fund your account so you can trade with your own money.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, I shouldn't. I should.
Well,
Say,
yeah, and I mean, we're gonna have probably another, one of those Mondays where the best moves overnight,
oh yeah, 100%.
and it's if and that's the hardest thing to do. I mean, this is why the war on the weekends thing is so tough, because you're losing, because they're in options. Let's not, they're not shorting shares of
Oh,
SPY.
sure, sure.
And so you lose the like theta counts on the weekends. You can't do anything with it, but it still eats you up. So it means you need a bigger move in the morning, and then you got to sit there and pre-market and watch it bounce back and recover a little, and then it's like, well, is that first candle gonna retrace down or retrace up? And you're just kind of at analysis paralysis of whatever weekend positions they had. So even if you even if you guess right over the weekend, that's tough, and it's certainly hard to enter in that first hour. It's not that hard to make $50, but if you're wrong, limiting it to losing 50, that's where they struggle, because they'll just hold that thing and double down, and the losses end up bigger than the wins, and that's what seems to happen a lot with those guys.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Next week, to get this out there real quick. Next week, we're coming off spring break. At least here, I know a lot of you guys have already had spring break early. It flows through it, but you're coming off spring break. You got half them VCs probably at that goddamn golf tournament. To be honest with you, you got taxes due middle of the week. I mean, the news. I could find the list for you, but the news next week, as far as numbers go, is pretty thick. Um, it's going to be volatile. It really, and then you have all the geopolitical stuff, but it's going to be volatile next week. But to think we're coming out of the box like Monday morning at all, to think we won't just be inside the zone we've already been in, is kind of foolish to me.
you think it's tough for some of those Wall Street guys to give up their phone as they watch the Masters with all this going on?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, but I think what I think the watch helps a lot with that, Pete.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I do think there's a thing to that,
Oh yeah.
or we wouldn't be seeing the no phone thing. I don't know. I don't
Right.
know. But
No, I'm with you. Yeah, yeah. It's a it's always fascinating.
yeah, so
I
so
will, I
so
will say though, but for a sporting event, and I think Griffey actually took the picture last year. But there's this picture of Rory winning, and to just see the crowd, and it's not everyone holding their phone up. Like,
yeah, it's great.
kind of nice to see.
Yeah, it's great.
That's how sporting events and photos used to be at big finishes and things. But
So not to get too down that path, but when I used to do the soccer stuff, we had a strict rule in our supporter section: no phones out. So our pictures did look good like that.
oh, nice, yeah. Yeah, I know
PPI,
I know
PPI,
the FPD guys that do that. They're called the beer guardians
yeah,
for the.
I love it. PPI Tuesday.
Yep.
Got Fed speaking on Tuesday and Wednesday. What else do we got? Whoa. Oh, that's your screen. Tripping. Um, Jobs on Thursday. More Feds. Feds all week. So, yeah, just a lot next week. A lot of talk next week. Light on the earnings. I did post earnings. I don't post for fun, people in the group, and I randomly posted the earnings page this week. So there's probably something to that.
Well, so I will say on earnings, the when I start to really get into it, once WD-40 reports, no one cares about them, but that's the beginning of it to me, not the end.
Oh, really?
So yes, and so basically these next couple weeks where there isn't, it's not like there's not like a lot of big names or anything, but there's some very good ones, and JBHT has been that before. Johnson and Johnson has the banks
Yes.
are great the day after, and so you might see some of those show up in my notes. TSM's a big barometer for a lot of things. So this this week does kind of sets the table. Uh, Netflix, given that they split, is a little can't actually do something with it before they split. I mean, who's going to put up 3 or 4 grand on a option? I mean, I know people do, but not for me. But yeah, no, I think this is an important uh, earnings week. There's a lot of meat on the bone. So
For
I
me,
even mentioned you even mentioned Fastenal. I've done that many times.
for me, you hit the head on the nail there. Fucking the banks, not really as a trade per se,
Yeah.
but just as kind of market conditions and the economy conditions, a very big leading indicator. And then the fucking elephant in the room, BlackRock. I mean, I
Yeah.
always look at their report. I don't want to say I don't think you're a trader if you don't, but it's something you should always look at, what they say in general, because they have their fucking hand in everything. So
Yeah, they do, and people think of that as that they're running the world, Illuminati kind of thing. But no, I mean it's just their reach, their exposure
yeah, it's
is
like
so
Disney.
great and
It's
it's so
like
big.
Disney.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Let's get
All
some
right,
boring
I'll get to
stuff.
some boring stuff.
Yeah.
Don't want to keep us too long here. All right, the start with copper like I always do, and a minute chart. Sorry.
You degen.
Go to go to the 4 hour chart.
That looks
Now, I
way
don't
better.
trade copper on the minute chart. It just happened to be on there. All right, so zoom out a little more.
I know you were on Bitcoin. We know what you're doing over there.
Yeah, yeah. So we are, we're kind of through it with that big drop that happened, back in August, and trying to build some support up here, and it's always been about the 5 to 7 trade for me, and so I would expect some more volatility here, but the health of this chart makes steel very appealing to me because steel I think has the most room to grow, recover, um, whatever, and it's a big watch for me in terms of I keep talking about Trump shifting priorities in that, and domestic spending and infrastructure. He's got to circle around to that, I think, and so there's that, and then there's a lot of ways in which the supply constraints and logistics and things could push this higher too.
Yeah, I like the chart. It's healthy, and I'm with you on the steel. Um, I'm above water finally in in the one. I don't really like to say I'm above water until all my shares are free, not free, but above the line.
Yeah,
Um, but overall, the position's better. I offer some. If you were late on steel in our room, you're doing really good. If you were with us on steel, you're still doing good. But I think there's a lot left in there. Copper, I don't know where to go, Pete. I'm not going to scalp that. You know what I mean? That the one I
yeah.
like. Yeah, and that's just a set and
Well,
forget.
yeah. I mean, look, here's my lines. I mean, I have some still from that box, but no, I can't add to this. And then
Yeah,
the other
well,
one's just way too far gone.
yeah, the other one was $100, or like I for like 95 or something like that. And yeah, sold way too early, but
Yeah.
yeah, is what it is. I think steel's where it's at.
And silver,
One more,
I
check
mean,
in.
getting there, there's some opportunity for sure in silver. The $70 area, it kind of finding its way. But so the question becomes like, what is kind of the new normal for silver? And I think we're still fishing that out. $30 for a long time was a big spot, and then for a shorter span of time, it wasn't even 40. 40 was resistance, and then it just busted through, and then it was 50 for a minute.
Yeah,
And then, but it just on any of these moves of late, like it hasn't had enough time to really build. You just get these big fat candles up here, and you have to um, be aware of that. And I guess just you look for the trades and the flow and here and things like that. But it's very different to trade this up here than where we were before. So big opportunity, but you're taking on a little more risk, I think, with these trades.
there's scalpable range in charts, but it's just not. I think there's other things that are more worthy of your time currently, and
Yeah.
I just don't really go back to something I bought at $4 or $5 and trading it at 22 and 27 or whatever is a little hard for me. So
Yeah.
But gold and silver, that's there. If you didn't trade gold and silver, you can trade it now.
Yep. And yeah, gold same way. Gold's a little ahead, I guess, of silver lately, but it's not getting the as steep of the drops. But
Yeah, gold's. I
yeah,
think
and there's
gold's a
still
little more. What do you want to call it? Like people physically do want gold. Silver's is more of the use case, but people like literally
yeah.
want to hold on to gold, so it's gonna take longer for this to, I guess, come back to a real. I mean, like even this chart, it's grinding up again still. I mean, you look at silver and the moves are way more volatile to the downside. It's more structured downward, where this is really trying to hold on sideways.
Yeah, it is. And I don't know, you can draw all kinds of shapes on this thing, I guess, if
Yeah,
you
you
want.
can be all kinds of wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, and then let's see here. Get into oil and yeah. So oil, yeah, real like on the weekend stuff. I mean, especially with with crypto getting involved, you have a lot of weekend trading, and I mean, what likely happens is you're probably going to get a big spike here, and then but a little more muted than what people are talking about and what's what's out there. But the idea of this retesting those highs again um, is probably going to happen, and you just kind of see where we go from there. I think you asked me last week about $200 oil,
Yeah, 'cause everyone says that out loud.
and I didn't really think so, but um, I just I it's going to reach. There's going to be it's you can't really time it, but there's going to be a day or 3 days or whatever where this is going to, if this gets too out of control, they're going to intervene. And a lot of my oil friends, they'll share a chart where they're like there's a zone where for them where I think it's like 90 to 110 is like the high life for them, and then below that they're like we're dead, and then above that they're like we're all dead. Like so there's a like even for the oil guys like there's a price where it's out of hand because of the way it affects everything else. So I think the move a move over a spike over 120 um, will kind of lead to some intervention, and they'll over 150 they'll just pull out all the stops and try to control things.
Yeah, I guess I'm on a different mind. I think the shock of the news isn't gonna, because it's just a news thing. It's fear. It's not like I mean, if they start bombing refineries again, yeah, upward
Yeah,
movement. But just on the straight in the news, I think that's the boy who cried wolf kind of comes to play here a little bit, and we don't break these last high candles, which is what that first one looks like. It might be one like 18. That second one's 116.
yeah,
I think we just keep getting that higher low here, consolidating around 100. Anything over 100 is, you know, tragic for the market right now
right.
and the administration. So I think they continue to focus on keeping it inside of that and down under 100 and doing things to get it back to reality, so to speak. So I'm gonna have a little different mind. So we'll see how it plays out
Well, I mean,
Monday.
there's a little bit. It's like silver. I mean, there's a discrepancy between the paper market and you're dealing with something physical. And for I mean, in a lot of parts of the world, the price per barrel you're already paying over 120. So it's just the number the market chooses to um, care about is this $100 paper number that I think they will continue to intervene, and plenty of conspiracy theories about our government directly manipulating the futures market. So um, yeah, if they have the power to do that, and I don't even think you need that. I mean, Trump's a market guy.
Yeah.
He could just make a couple calls and do it. He doesn't have to have the government do it, in my opinion. I mean, I just think that the the whales and insiders and all those people, getting on the same page, they can move things, and even something as big as as oil. So
Well, and the reverse angle, if you do get above, let's 150, 125, whatever, some equilibrium, Trump could just easily switch to, we'll sell it now, right? Like, it's good for us. We're
yeah,
going to sell our oil. Yeah,
right,
so
yeah, absolutely.
it's more of a nothing burger than it's ever been for me, um, just because of how the war is played out. It's not a big, it's. I mean, I hate to minimize shit. It kind of sucks, but it's a couple bombs. It's not
Yeah.
boots on the ground. It's not 24/7 fighting. It's a couple shots fired. What do you want to do? It's a lot of posturing.
Yeah, there's a lot of FUD. I mean, the FUD about the draft is, was the big thing, was like, 18 to 25-year-olds will be automatically registered for the draft. That selective service thing's been around forever.
Sure.
All it is just it's just a change. They changed their vendor in effect. I mean, they're just gonna just sign people up automatically for the thing you had to do anyway. It's not reinstituting the draft.
No.
But that that fuels the idea, the World War III idea, for people, and
Yeah.
so there's plenty of that floating around in the algorithms too.
100%.
Yeah. All right, so then we'll get to the 10-year real quick.
It was looking good on Friday. Yeah, we were getting right there below 430.
Yeah.
Right direction.
So, probably gonna see a spike on this, I'm sure, into tomorrow. But as long don't want to just plow through 450 and keep going. I don't think it will, but yeah, just be mindful. Look for this to calm down. That'll help your bags.
If it's calm this week, I'm buying.
Yeah,
I'm telling
right.
you that right now. If it's calm and it don't, my direction don't make a difference to me. But if this thing is like 28, 32 the whole week, buy. Just
yeah.
buy, because the news, all the stuff going on this week, there's no way we're not going to get overreactions both ways.
Yeah, you want these, the dojis, and I mean and when you get kind of a fat candle, you kind of don't want another one. You want to go mid candle over and over again. That's kind of what you're after here. So we'll see if that happens. But
well, yeah,
right,
you have good. I won't. No, yeah, move along.
Okay.
Sorry, you don't want that right here.
What's that? Now I gotta know.
The candle structure. No, we're not doing it.
Oh, I know. Well, that's what That's what the calmness is, right? I mean, it's
Yeah, no. Well, you want definitive. Sorry, I'm gonna do it. You want definitive moves like these red candles on the side and these green candles up, where you're getting full body candles and then you're getting mid candle, next candles. You're just getting really good structure in your moves to the north and the south in that V. That's a definitive move. You don't want these. You don't want the flat ones with really big wicks, and you don't want the ones with really big wicks that not really define a direction but don't have a direction, which is where we're at now. I mean, this could go to what, 421 or 450. That's such a huge range. You would much rather just have a controlled direction inside the candles, like you see in the last two down and up moves from February to March, from March to April. Sorry.
Nice. All right. Natural gas. I don't know.
Manipulated.
Here. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, this is just some basically controlled selling. They're not.
I think that's why oil's in the news, because they don't want to talk about what's going on over here until they have their. I talk about it in how I dissect the flow in general all the time, but like they want to have control before they let you know what they're doing. And I think there's some backdoor deals and someone's ass is out in the wind, and we're getting something for helping them out, keep the price down. And it's obviously Europe for the most part that needs this for their people. They're just the dense population that needs natural gas.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I'm buying those. Are you still buying those though? Hold on.
The natural gas stuff?
Yeah, I'm still buying those. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still buying. I mean, even the UNGs of the world are getting to a point where
now we're talking. Now you're talking.
So it's not. I mean, for a long time it was like combo, combo names, and what that allowed for was for you to get some nice moves up on the as oil did its thing. But here, I mean, you've seen me mention the like the OKEs more and like the pure natural gas names, um, and I stay away from the pure leverage. But yeah, I mean UNG the concentration of those. There's plenty of names, so you expect to see those over the
There's
next couple.
one, I want to say this, just get it on record. There's one that, a lot of people probably traded already for a decent percentage because it is at an upper level, but it has a lot left in the tank
Yeah.
in the next move, so to speak.
Yep. Uh, uranium. Just I mean, uranium in the news right now is whatever Iran has buried under a mountain. But that's not really what we're talking about. So I think yeah, there's some stability here, and it's just it's a component of that energy trade and meeting our power needs, and Europe figuring out they screwed up going away from this and getting back into it. I think you'll see that. So there's going to be a lot of 10, 15-year plans about reactors and all that stuff. So that's gonna stay around, and plenty of names there. So that's good.
And more to come in Final Five today's voice chat.
Yeah, yeah,
I had it in the list and I subbed out one of the names for it, but I think it was worthy of a read. And again, that's me circling back because you hit the U's a few weeks ago, and
yeah,
for again the price that they're at, I just hard for me to trade up there. Um,
yep,
so there's one. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about that. I think we take a look at here. So
yeah, absolutely. Um, lithium still, I like to zoom out on this one because I still my eyes are on the $40 area. Um, for where this is going. So, I mean, that last move up and pullback, I think I just said like, well, where does it look like this is going to go? And then it took off. So it's going to keep doing that. I mean, it's still a huge part of things. What I talked about with cheap tech and robots and drones everywhere. I mean, lithium's a big part of that. There isn't some other big battery power source breakthrough. It's still about it's making lithium more efficient within those systems, and that's going to just still be where it's at too.
more to come here in Final Five as well. But
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
want to make the point on that one, man. For you fucking on the stupid Twitter people out there, oh, you'll do fine making 300 or 500 bucks a day. Yeah, no shit. Um, you could have traded this one for 4x, and then
yeah,
it's still giving you that $300 to $400 move a day on a 2 grand trade for the better, um,
yeah,
for the easy math of it. um, but I think the move's still big there too, so yeah, more to come. Final five
yeah.
again. You nailed two of those stuff for me.
Oh, nice. All right. So
Little spy.
the spy story here. They're kind of reconfiguring some things, and they did really well on some of those contracts I mentioned, and have kind of rolled out of those. Like you don't see them in the big open interest picture. A lot of dead open interest on this thing at this point. But the 600 for September, that's one side of things, and then it's just about where the other glove is. Probably 650 or 630. It could be 630. They could go later. They could go earlier. So I'm just sort of waiting that out. So basically, we're kind of just gonna re-explore the downside of the range before the ceasefire deal, and then we go from there. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, well, 660 back into play after this last move. There's strength. I mean, you can see when if the news is going to be positive, what the market wants to do. And I posted that I probably like 6 hours before it happened, but I wanted to get sure I got it out there, just kind of what we're looking for. Last week I said I think it was like six. I don't know. There was a couple $20, $25 price brackets, and I still think we find one of those. Is it looking like 75, 80 to 50? Sure. So the 660 still kind of the pivot for a good ratio in that zone. If you're going 650 to 675,
Yeah.
the 633, 663.40 auto RTL on the day would be my kind of where we're going to consolidate around. It's going to take more than one candle. Um, this week is not set up the best. If we use the golf analogy, it's fucking raining and the wind's blowing this week.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna get ahead on some grading, and I'll have my notes and everything. So there's still opportunity. There's just kind of quick hitters, and
Yeah.
I even to you, I so collabs. Where was the first place that those conversations happened?
For us?
What's the origin of collabs?
Oh yeah,
Just
we were
us.
just DMing each other.
Yeah, we're just DMing each other in the other room because of various circumstances in that room. But so now, we still sometimes will DM, and it's some observations on what's going on. So everybody, like, there's not content you're missing out on in that space. We're planning really, but I mean, one thing that I did say in there, it was like, I see this move that's going to happen probably in the first 15 minutes on this particular stock on snow or whatever, and some SaaS recovery, but I'm like, it's not going to hold it. And anybody, if I post that, and I know how that goes. I didn't like when I was alerting, when I was doing fine on that, and people were having trouble because that pop and fade thing. I mean, it's a nasty situation to trade, particularly options, where you get the quick 2-3%, and then it's just gone, and either it's going to break those lows again, or just going to park in the middle of that move, and it's just no way to live. So, I'm looking more for some nice spots on things that I can hold for a while, and that's what I'm trying to find. And I don't know how much of that I'll have early in the week, but yeah, I'm kind of with you on this market sentiment.
Yeah, no, for me it's just like setting up the buys every week and getting a good average in things that you want and sticking to that plan, and then a little bit of the news plays.
Yeah.
Especially if they're familiar names. I try not to drop anything that I don't know. Because you're going to get some good grinders out of that. Or you'll get that pop, the fade, and it'll catch the whole zone back. And those are the trades. I mean, secondary moves are safer. That used to be a thing.
Yeah.
I still look for that in the chart, and I think this market is back to that currently. So, yeah, the opportunity there, kind of style, but it's more style dependent than finding stuff that can, cover most people's styles.
Yeah, good stuff.
You ready to work?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, like
I'll
and
grab a
subscribe.
coffee and good to go.
Link somewhere, people. Perfect.